So good morning. Nice to meet you all. Okay, today I'm very proud to be in this Red Dot session to present a specific case. Now I will start my presentation mode, which is about the integration, which is for an EBS application. And what we will see is a specific case for modernization. Let me present myself, and I'm Giovanni Conte. I'm specifically focused on integration inside the business process innovation specialist team. And so I have skills for integration. I have developed these skills through the many years of experience. And now we will see specifically this case. And okay, after this presentation, there will be a presentation and demo. What we will have a space for question and answers if you would like also to understand a bit more about what we will see together. So first of all, we start with an introduction, and so we will see exactly what we are going to talk about. And so we say this introduction is saying exactly something about our way to work with legacy applications, which usually are on-premise, and cloud applications, and the way we propose to manage them, to move them into the cloud. And so what we usually know is that many customers have legacy systems. And so what happens is that we find that this is usually my job, is usually the job of my team, to understand exactly the landscape of these systems in order to understand how we can move them to a transformation, a digital transformation. And so our common approach is to move these applications, these systems into the OCI, the Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. And the way to do it is usually, there are many ways, but usually these are the two main ways, which is to lift the current legacy system as they are into the cloud, or to adopt SaaS applications, which means change something, make these applications so the same functionalities to be done let me say, reused inside the different SaaS applications. And what happens is that integration is key to enable the smooth transition, because usually this does not happen big bang, but there are steps to be done in order to make this transition to the cloud. Could be needed temporary coexistence of systems. So new, in example, SaaS applications together with legacy applications, because you are switching off some of the functional areas of these legacy applications. In example, we will see in this example, EBS HR could not change and could remain where it is for a while, because there could be priorities in order to migrate this application into the cloud. And so it is important to have this temporary coexistence and also to have the connection with these existing customer systems, because they can stay where they are. And so in order to do this, just to jump specifically into the case that we will see, in example, among the different customer systems and the legacy applications, we can consider EBS. And so EBS can be in the cloud, because can be hosted, can be lived in the cloud. And so EBS can also maintain some of the functional areas like the HR, as I told you before. And so the Fusion application can coexist with EBS, and Integration Cloud, as we are saying, is key in order to enable this coexistence and to integrate and to make data pass through between EBS and Fusion application back and forth in order to implement end-to-end business processes which are maintaining the current EBS functionalities. And so integration can be needed also for EBS modernization. What does it mean? What is the meaning of this EBS modernization? It means to add new interaction channels. So in this case, to have a mobile application in this solution. And so this mobile channel is modernizing EBS because it's opening EBS functionalities to a new way of interaction. And so in this case, we will have EBS HR, in which an integration cloud, Oracle integration cloud in the middle, and we will have a new mobile application which is enabled to access some of the EBS functionalities and workflows in order to enable users to access the current EBS functionalities from a mobile, not to log in EBS anymore, and so on. We will see it later. So this is the scope of this solution. And obviously, what we are depicting here is exactly the architecture in which EBS is moved into the OCI. It works because we are using an integration layer. It works wherever EBS resides. It can remain for a bit or for a while into the on-premise for any kind of reason. It has big advantages of being moved into the OCI, being hosted into the OCI, and obviously with the integration we can have any kind of architecture. So some credits, because it's very important to say this. I think because this work has been inspired from obviously a customer. So the customer needs always inspires some good works. So a customer having EBS and trying to find ways to modernize it. And so the need to provide mobile access to the customer already present EBS HR workflows. And also a solution that we already had, something like a proof of concept and almost already working solution, which was provided by the ACE, by the account cloud engineer. And so we decided that this solution was very good to be reused. And so we collected all the items, we provisioned in our own tenancy. We refined them because we needed also to upgrade the releases because it was done in another release, and the upgrade was very fine, was very straightforward. And the approach was to create a reusable solution that we can demo. We can reuse as a proof of concept, as an example for our customers in order to understand how to exploit EBS, how to open EBS, how to exploit the EBS APIs to modernize it. The team is here, the account manager, Eliana, Radva, Gamal as a senior account cloud manager, and myself. I have done some work on this, and so I have run this demo for some specific customers. So let's see the solution. Okay, as we said, the solution is the one we see high level depicted in the right side of the slide. And so the goal is to enhance, modernize the EBS platform for a better reach of users. So to ease the access of users into the EBS functionalities and workflows in this case. And so the business challenge was that the employees, even if the EBS workflows are very complete, the usual pain of the users is that they have to log in on the EBS each time. Obviously, they have to interact with these workflows. And also, this is happening for the employees. In this case, they are issuing any kind of request if they want to see the workflows, notification, and so on. And this happens also for the approvers. And so the benefits of this solution are that we are automating the business process, and we are mobilizing the EBS self-service workflows for reaching in a better way the user. So having the right user experience, we can really work on managing properly the user experience. And also, which is, we think is very important, it is not disruptive. We are not changing anything inside the EBS. We are reusing exactly what is there. all the effort, all the assets created by the customers during their development on the EBS are reused there. Standard workflows or any custom workflows, you can expose anything outside. And so this is very important because you customer can continue to work as they are doing now, which is very key, okay, and very appreciated by our customers. And so let's see a bit, this is a standard slide for the representation of the capabilities of our integration products. And this is very important to understand that, we have a complete suite which is made of different key components. And so we are always talking about an ecosystem for integration because we have a full set of capabilities for integration. And obviously in this POC, we have used a subset of these capabilities of the whole integration offering. And so what is in scope here? Obviously, application integration. So we are using the Oracle Integration Cloud because the Oracle Integration Cloud is the key component used here in order to perform application integration. So to deliver data back and forth from the mobile application to the EBS and the EBS response back to the mobile application. Why an integration layer in the middle? Because it is the layer of indirection. So it is there in order to enable to access DPBS in a simple way wherever EBS is deployed. And also Visual Builder, because we need to develop a new customer experience. And so this means that we need a way to develop a mobile application. And so Visual Builder is our best offering to develop a custom mobile application. And also what we are doing here, let's see, exactly we are doing what? Cloud to cloud, because we have the mobile application which is deploying in the cloud. And in the case we will see, we have EBS, which is resident in the cloud, is already there, is already moved into the cloud. But this can work also, obviously, if the mobile application is obviously deployed in the cloud, but EBS, for any reason, is still on-premise. So we are exploiting the adapters, which is very important. So the adapters are the key part of the integration offering. In this case, EBS is exposing REST services, and so we are using the REST APIs and the REST adapter. Also, we are using the database adapter because EBS is reached in order to get some more detailed info. We have chosen also to use the database adapter also to exploit and to explain, not only exploit, but also to explain the capabilities of integration and to reach directly the EBS database. Okay. Obviously, the last part of this is that there is, as in any solution, identity and access management involved in order to manage the access of the user, and so the management of their credentials. And so in the real case, also in this demo, but in the real case, the user will be in single sign-on with the EBS. So here we have a slide about the let me say, detailed logical architecture of the solution. So this is the standard representation of the architecture we do as a workload architecture. And you see here, starting from the bottom, there is the IDCS type. Now is no more IDCS, is identity domain. And okay, we have Oracle Integration Cloud in the middle, obviously. And logically speaking, we have another representation of Oracle Integration Cloud on the upper side of this slide. This is only logical because you know that VBCS can be embedded in the same instance of Oracle integration. But just logically speaking, here there are the integration flows. And on the Oracle Integration Cloud VBCS, there is the presentation part, so the user experience part, and over there, the mobile application has been developed and is specifically running on the VBCS engine. In the center of the slide, we have the EBS. So the EBS is in cloud, is what we have done. We will see we have done an EBS marketplace for this specific POC and use case. And the EBS is open to the outside world to be integrated with a very good layer, which is the integrated SOA gateway. It's a layer which is embedded out of the box inside EBS. And we have exploited this. So what is happening is that standard functions, standard workflows, and custom workflows of EBS are exposed as REST APIs through the integrated SOA gateway. So let's see the solution components and the details of the solutions. So starting from the left, we have the different components we have seen in the architecture. Now represented in another way, just to explain exactly what is inside. So on the left, we have Oracle Integration Cloud VBCS. So we usually call it Visual Builder Cloud Service VBCS, which is the UI part, the web application and mobile application part of the Oracle Integration Cloud. And so over there, what we have one VBCS application, which is called EBS modernization, obviously. And so this mobile application is providing the access to the user. Then we have the integration layer, so Oracle Integration Cloud. In order to run this POC, we have 4 integration cloud integration flows. We see there are the flows. These are very simple flows because they are directly calling the EBS APIs. Then we have the very important layer, which is the EBS SOA integrated gateway. Over there, we have 3 APIs. I will not go in the details of it. These are written, but these 3 APIs are exposed in the integrated SOA gateway. Over here, we have also represented the EBS DB call. This is not in the SOA integrated gateway. This is directly in the database access. So the access to the REST APIs happens through the REST adapter of Oracle Integration Cloud. The access to the EBS database happens through the database adapter of Oracle Integration Cloud. Then on the right, obviously, there is the target system, the system which owns all the data and workflows, which is the EBS. In this case of the case of this demo, we have an EBS marketplace installation, which includes the Oracle database, obviously. Okay, let's see then. Let's go to a demo, because I think at the end, what could be interesting to see about this solution is to really see a specific demo. And this is very important, and we will see, before seeing the demo, we will say something about what the demo will enable. So we will say something about how a user typically works in the traditional way in the EBS. So you log into the EBS, you select the appropriate responsibility. We will also do this. It will fill mandatory data and so on, and we'll access the EBS screen in order to interact with the workflows. So an employee will issue a request, a manager will perform any kind of check about the request, and then will perform any approval or rejection of it. Now, with this application, what will happen is that everything will be done through a mobile application. You can see the list of available requests you can choose from, and so there will be 2. Now there could be many of these possibilities into the mobile application. So the request details will be entered into the mobile application, and so the employee and the approver can work on the mobile application. So the employee can just issue a request and see the status of the notifications, and the approvers can approve or reject into these. And Also, the benefits, we already said about the benefits, but what is important to point out now is that we can check for the process reflection. What does it mean? That everything is in EBS and everything is made in EBS. So if we go in EBS, we see exactly what we see in the mobile application. Because EBS is the master application, we are exploiting this master application for everything. And so just an high-level sequence of what is happening. So the use case will be very simple. So the employee can submit two things. One is a residence permit request, and the other one is overtime work request. And so the employee, when he has issued this request, can check for the notification status. Also, the manager can check for the notification status. But when the requests are sent, the first line manager can approve or reject this request. And for the second request, which is the overtime work request, there is on the EBS workflow the rule that also a second line manager must approve. So in this case, we will see also the second approval. Very quickly, what happens behind the scenes? We have used colors just to say when an employee submits a request, the blue part is triggered. So there is an integration flow, the blue integration flow, and the blue REST APIs, which is involved. When there is a check for a notification status, we see all the red items which are involved in this interaction. Okay, so now is time for the demo. Some words about this. There is a slide deck here. There are some hidden slides like this one. There are, hidden slides which are presenting exactly the demo that we are running. So if you want to see the demo steps through the slides, you can reuse the hidden slides. So I will switch to the demo, and let's see if I have to log in back or not. Okay, here I have the Oracle Integration Cloud, the Visual Studio. Let me just refresh all these screens just to run the demo properly. And okay, and then I will start this for you. Okay. Okay. So what we have here. So let's see the different components of the solution. First of all, we have Oracle integration, and you know that Oracle Integration Cloud has different flavors, and we are exploiting, as we said in the slide, for the overall architecture of the components of Oracle Integration Cloud. We have a visual builder application, and we have some integrations. And you see here there is something which there are some integrations here. And so about the visual builder application, okay, we have just a mobile application. And so I will start the demo here. And so we log in as an employee, which is called EMP3 in this case. And so we log in here. And so here, this application is also made to provide many different functionalities and areas. And we jump into the HR area. And you see there is the possibility for the employee to issue two kinds of requests. One, this IQAMA was specifically for the customer, means residence permit. The other one is overtime request. The user can see the notifications, and so any pending notification. And here is the history of all the notification we have for this user. The last one is the one ending with 256 in this specific moment. And so what the employee can do is to issue a residence permit request. We can issue a specific ID, like this one, in example, just to recognize it later. we can say, okay, I would like to have a residence permit from this month, from this date. I can just also copy this date just to say, I want this residence permit for 3 months, and some remarks. My resident permit request. Oh. Okay, my residence permit request, that's fine. Okay, and then I submit it. So when I submit it, okay, I have the confirmation that this request has been created successfully. Let's see what happens behind the scenes. If we go to integration and we are on the monitoring of the integration, we just refresh it, we will see that there is an EBS self-service request which has been issued. So it passed through the Oracle Integration Cloud. And then we can try to understand exactly what is there on the mobile application. So there should be a notification, the last notification, this with the 507. So the EQAMA renewal request, which means residence permit request, has been forwarded for approval to Donald Gray. This is very important. It's very important for us to check what is happening on the EBS. Here we are on the EBS status monitor for the EBS workflows, and we can just refresh here to understand what is happening behind the scenes. And we see that there is a new, you see there is a green check here, a new active OD residence permit request here. And we can check exactly the status of this request. And we see is exactly this request is notified to whom, is assigned to Donald Gray, as we see. We can open it just to check the details of it. And we see this is 444442. We see exactly the dates that we provided for this residence permit request. We see the remarks and so on. And so everything is residing on the EBS. We can go back into the Visual Builder application. And so in this case, we have to do something like, okay, now we can act as Donald Gray, which is the first line manager. And we can say, we can log in there, and we can go to the HR services, and we can check for the notification. And we see that there is a pending notification for Donald Gray, and this pending notification is saying that there is a renewal request specifically to be worked. And we see the details of it. So it is 444442, and it is we see all the details about this, and we can approve it. So when we approve it, we can go back as we can first of all see what is happening on the Oracle Integration Cloud. So what is happening in the middle layer of this architecture. And so on the Oracle Integration Cloud, what is happening is that, okay, there was a self-service request before issued by the employee. Now there is an EBS self-service approval, which is submitted by the manager. And we have seen also that these users are issuing a request to the EBS just to check, to get some notification information and some notification details, because they are clicking in the button for the notification, and this is triggering some calls to services into the EBS. And so let's go back into to the employee, and we can check for the pending notification. And so we see that the last pending notification, so the renewal request, has been approved by Donald Gray. So this is very important because we have seen the first use case. Now we can see also another use case in which the user create an overtime request. And so in this case, I would like to work overtime on this Sunday here. And we can do like this to be quicker. And we can say I will work till 11 p.m. Need to deploy on production. And some other remarks, partner will work later or if needed as planned. And so there are just some remarks. So I submit this one. I go back into the Oracle Integration Cloud, and going back into Oracle Integration Cloud, I should see that there is a new submission for service request, which is a different type, but it's the same service that is issuing this kind of request to the EBS. And here, if I go back and I see the notification, I see that there is a new notification here. And so there is an overtime request which has been forwarded to Donald Gray. Okay. And so Donald Gray here should see this new request here in his, exactly in his mobile phone. But what we can do here now is we can go back into the EBS and we can say, okay, let's see what is happening here on the workflows. On the workflows here, I just refresh. We see what? First of all, that the previous request was completed. It's something that I didn't show to you before, but here we see that this one, which was the previous residence permit request issued from the employee, was completed because it was approved by the manager. But now we can go here and we can see exactly this one, which is a new active request. And we see here that there is a request issued again and assigned to Donald Gray again. And we can open it and we can see that this is the overtime request issued by the ODMP3 user. And here what we can do is that Donald Gray, the first line manager, can choose in this case, because he's working on the specific on this specific issue, on this specific task directly on the EBS, can approve on the EBS directly. Why not? Because this is something we can do. And so in this case, what we can do, we can go back into the mobile application. We can see as Donald Gray if there are any pending notification. Obviously not, because it has been approved and worked and approved into the EBS. And now as a user, I can check what happened to my request. And about my request, I see that my request has been forwarded to another manager, which is the second line manager, which is Casey Brown. And so as a user, I see exactly what is happening behind the scenes. And so let's log in again as a new manager, which is Casey Brown. And okay, we see here the status for Casey Brown. Casey Brown has an overtime request notification. This needs to be checked by Casey Brown to be approved. And Casey Brown can approve. Let's see before what is happening here. On the Integration Cloud, there are services going around. So there is 2 requests, 2 approvals. There is 1 approval still missing. And so on the EBS, we can see the status of the workflow for this. Let's go here and check the status monitor and see that there is an active request. And let's see which is the history of this request on the EBS. We see that this request has been forwarded before to a specific manager, and now it is forwarded to Casey Brown. We can open it. It is the same request as before, need to deploy on production, and with the dates and so on. And so we see exactly which is the reflection of all these activities into the EBS and the reflection back into the mobile application. So here we can go back here on the mobile application and we can approve it. So based on this approval, again, we can see that as a user on my pending notifications, I see that my request has been approved. And so the second workflow has been completed by the second line manager, Casey Brown, and everything is done. So what I can show you now is something a bit more technical. Oh, okay, we went a bit from technical stuff to other stuff. I can show you. So the self-service request, we have two requests here. We have the residence permit and the overtime request. We can exactly go into the Oracle Integration Cloud tracking to understand what happened there. And so this is the flow. We can see the activity stream, sorry, in Italian here. And okay, the activity stream, we can see the message which has been issued by the mobile application and the message which is received from the EBS application. And so exactly this is what we got, what the integration is doing. So there is all the information because the tracking here is enabled about the messages, the transformation issued and so on. And also what we can do, we can go back and see another service in example. If we go here and we go back to the monitoring, we can see the notification details service. And we can see that this service specifically is a service which is going into the EBS database. And so this is checking for the EBS database. And what is doing on the EBS database is performing a specific SQL query. This is a choice, a design choice we have made for this POC. So now the demo is done. I can go back to the slides just to tell you something about some takeaways. Yeah. Okay, I can go back to the presentation mode, and here we are. Takeaways. It's important to say what we have done. We have applied some strategies, a specific strategy for modernization of EBS, of let me say any legacy application, because we can reach in this way any kind of legacy application, if it is on premise, if it is moved into the Oracle Cloud, if it is resident in any other cloud. In this specific case, what we can do, we can which is exactly the scope and the architecture of this demo, is that we consider that EBS, as usually happens, is moved into the cloud, into Oracle OCI. Why? Because customer gets many benefits out of it. A cost reduction in terms of maintenance, everything is all the machines are managed by Oracle, and so there are many advantages in going into the Oracle Cloud. And so there is a lift approach taken to move EBS into the cloud. In this case, what we are doing, we are migrating and modernizing, moving EBS into the cloud, but EBS is still as it is in the cloud in terms of functionalities of the way users are reaching the EBS functionalities and are accessing it. And so we can use a native cloud user experience for modernization. And so this we are doing, as in this specific demo, through Oracle Integration Cloud, Visual Builder Cloud Service, and we have seen also behind the scenes Oracle Integration Cloud integration workflows. This is very important. Second way to do it is for any reason, EBS is still on-premise. And so in this case, we can maintain EBS on-premise and anyway modernize in the same way, because we can keep the existing EBS, but we can use Oracle Integration Cloud, its integration capabilities. And here, in this case, the integration capabilities are also a bit more important, because could be EBS will be in a private network. There will be the need to reach the APIs in this private network through an API gateway, through an agent, whatever is needed. And also the features of the ways to modernize it, also accessing the REST API exposed by the integrated gateway, developing and running a mobile application through VBCS will be exactly the same. So if we move exactly the architecture of so where EBS is, which is the landscape of this POC anywhere, it will work in the same way, just changing the way these EBS APIs, the EBS database, anything which is in the POC is reached. Also, an additional benefit is that we can, with this architecture, we usually enable not only the modernization of the EBS, as we have done, but the easy migration of the EBS into a SaaS application, like obviously, which is the target landing application for the EBS, which is the ERP Cloud. So in this way, we have seen that we have modernized it, but also if we consider the adoption of an ERP Cloud, the different functional areas like the account receivable, as it is here, and all the other stuff of the EBS can be moved in phases into the ERP Cloud, switching off and on these capabilities and these functionalities, processes, and so on. And also, what we can do on the modernization part, we can add anything. We can integrate any other cloud with the ERP Cloud. We can integrate the on-premise application, but we can enable any kind of new features for better user experience, like the Oracle Digital Assistant. So what we have seen in the demo as an employee running and performing a specific request can be an employee asking for tasks for specific needs to a digital assistant application, and the digital assistant application can integrate with the EBS with the same layer and very, very similar capabilities. So here we are at the end of this session, so presentation and demo, and so now we are open for any question, and let's see if there is anything to be addressed from your side. I see that Marcel is typing an answer.
Yes, I'm typing one answer, but there was a question regarding IAM domain. Maybe if you could say a bit more about how the mobile app is integrated with the EBS users.
Yeah, so what is happening on the identity and access management, so on IAM domain? Usually what we do is that in EBS, there is the need to have a specific asserter which is deployed on the EBS in order to work with Oracle identity domain. So in this case, this asserter enables the way single sign-on is performed between the EBS internet directory and the identity domain. So this is the key part to be done for this POC to work properly with the EBS environment of the customer.
Maybe another question which might be answered live. How much effort was needed to build the mobile app application for EBS? If you know, of course, considering this is a kind of pilot or demo application. It's not full-fledged customer application.
Yes. Honestly, in our case, very, very low effort. But why? Because, as I told you at the beginning, we started from an already developed asset. And so this asset was really very complete. As you see, it was also built it's not complete on the other areas, but it was also built for other functionalities, to provide other functionalities. And what I needed was only to go into the part for the environments and to change the endpoints of the Oracle Integration Cloud in order for this application to direct the request to a different integration layer. And everything worked fine. But obviously, we started from an already present asset. I don't know exactly how much effort has been spent in order to build this application. You know that VBCS is a low-code or zero-code framework. Is very simple to, I think, to create this kind of mobile or web applications. I think that it was a medium kind of effort and investment for this application, because it's just a matter of developing some screens, because all the logic is delivered by the EBS. It's just a matter of developing some screens and having this interaction back and forth through REST APIs to the EBS application. So the great work is done by the EBS workflows. It's just a way to issue a request, get back an answer, and then present the result. So I think the initial effort was very, very low, medium to low. Okay. There is a question about Hyperion planning functionality. Okay, and so the question is, could OIC and the Visual Builder Cloud Service be used to replace Hyperion planning functionality? Given yes. Yes. Honestly, I have done in the past something like I remember a proposal and initial research about this. Yes, it can be. I think it can be done based on the capabilities of the Hyperion planning, which I think currently is open to integration. As far as I remember, it does not have the integrated SOA gateway, but other ways to be integrated. But I really think so. It's just a matter of understanding which kind of APIs are available over there in order to be exposed to a mobile application like this. No specific experience. I've not done a specific work on this so far. Just a couple of years ago, and just an initial study on how to do this for Hyperion for a specific customer in Italy. Yeah. Apex. There is a question on Apex. Yes, this is an option for modernization of application. Yes, for sure. It's a different framework, because I personally I can be done, because Apex has a whole set of capabilities like calling REST data services, REST services, and so on. And also there is a lot of investment and enhancements also on Apex from the Oracle side. Probably Apex is so it's just a different framework. It's probably in this case, I think VBCS is much more suitable for a case like this. Why? Because it has a tight, it is in the same framework as OIC. As you see, OIC is very important for this proof of concept, and mainly because it enables you to reach the systems wherever they are. In case you use Apex, you should probably consider to use OIC in the middle. And in this case, okay, why using Apex? On the other side, you should consider Apex probably if you wanted to consider it without any kind of integration layer in the middle and calling just REST services. This is my point. I see the OIC enterprise service is charged per month. For Visual Cloud Builder, will customer get to use VBCS with OIC pack? Or they have to add additional unit for with cost. So VBCS is included in OIC standard edition. Yeah, this is what you can choose in order to use VBCS. It's not needed to have enterprise edition for VBCS. If I understand correctly your question, Arun.
Yeah, I would maybe add that the concept of message pack can contain all components. So basically, if the message pack is not fully utilized by integrations, some of the user sessions in Visual Builder can also count into the same message pack. So you can have a Visual Builder application integrated with integrations within one message pack.
Yeah. Okay.
I think we can wrap up.
There was a question, Marcel. Did we answer that one already? Which you put?
Yes.
Okay, that's solved. Okay. Okay. Then, if there are no further questions, thank you very much, Giovanni, Marcel, for presenting. Thanks everybody for attending, as always. Please also join us for tomorrow and also on Thursday on the sessions. For tomorrow on VMware Solutions, technical updates, and on Thursday, half an hour later than our usual time, on OCA database migration services. With that said, thanks again and have a great day, everybody. Goodbye.